So many chiefdom headquarter towns. Don't talk about regional, don't talk about district headquarter towns. Chiefdom headquarter towns. You go there, we see dozens of young people perishing, languishing, and that was more the reason civil society and the local police partnership board, we decided to join hands together. Not this year. Since January last year, 2023, we've started this campaign, we've started this sensitization, the monitoring, and engaging the media for us all to come on board to ensure that we kick Kush out of Sierra Leone. Otherwise, the generation will totally get bad.
Lamine continued by calling on state actors, especially the judiciary, to join the fight through speedy judicial processes in order to achieve a win in the fight against illicit drug intake.
We are saying those who are here locally selling the Kush within our communities, as Sierra Leoneans, we need to identify them. We need to prosecute them. Then the other key area has to do with the court, because we also find out that matters that has to do with Kush has been prosecuted to our courts, the magistrate court, but nothing much has been done. The cases are there, jam-packed. So we are calling on the judiciary that they have to be serious with this fight. Been on this for over a year now. AYB knows, SLBC and other media houses, they know we have been doing it across the country, across the city, talking to people about Kush. Now that government has come in that full force, we want to see a lot of statements. We want to see billboards from the president himself, placed all over the country talking about Kush, as he has done for other national issues. We are also calling him to ensure that he make, if possible, weekly statements about Kush, so that everybody should come on board.
Harmful drug intake by youth is also believed to have effects on the economy of a country, as it shrinks human productivity, such as lost wages, and decreases production that results from illness and premature deaths related to drug abuse. Joseph Adumambu, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, the Director of Professional Standards, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Yomba Senesi, has disclosed the arrest of about 8 police personnel in the last few days for breaching the 2001 Police Disciplinary Regulation on drug. He made this disclosure during their weekly press conference held at the Sierra Leone Police Headquarters in Freetown. Edema Conte has more.
With the ongoing fight against Kush by the government and other organizations, the Sierra Leone police have been conducting raids in different communities across the country and enforcing anti-drug laws and bringing perpetrators to justice. Director of Professional Standards, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Sir Yomba Senesi, revealed that in a recent raid conducted by the Sierra Leone police in Freetown East and West region, they have arrested 8 police officers allegedly involved in the intake of Kush.
So from time immemorial with the organization only, personnel don't fall foul of offenses and we don't deal with them appropriately. Now that's what they do. We'll not get any second cow. And that brings to mind to within the chairman with the talk. That then 2 days here, woman the way they didn't run from the OSD headquarters. They form a team and they go into action. They go arrest some of the personnel and go and defend them. But then get to the outside and they sell drugs and push. About 8 of them are Freetown East and West. Without correctional service personnel. They are not supposed to do it. Because the code of conduct say, if they offend you, outside they sell drugs, outside they drink, what they will leave is a problem for you. We will deal with you according to the regulations who gets there. So as we speak, we will investigate them, and at the end of it all, the outcome of the investigation will make a note on. Fight against Kush and other drugs-related offenses we will continue for further. I will not go relent. That is why we need your support at all times for no offend this further. In the organization, discipline is very key.
Director of Crime Services, Commissioner of Police, Joseph Ibrahim Lahai says the prevalence of Kush is becoming worrisome in the country.
So this issue of Kush will become worrisome. If this thing continue, I guess so. Believe me, the next 10, 15 years, we'll always there at a press conference. Because for council press conference, something for dinner I hate first. If we're able for talk, if we're able for at least articulate well, or let the members of the public understand you, and let the society self know the reason why they are. The issue of Kush, I can tell you for free, not one man fight. And one of members of the fourth estate, when I get a pivotal role for play part this thing, the police we all know, not the all-star, one of the journalists, and when I roll, we really respect her because if we not really collaborate with the police, we not equally help with the provision of relevant information about this Kush, whether the counter, whether the decision for smoker. I think we all will see a way forward by this fight here. So please, ladies and gentlemen, this fight against Kush, the fight against crime in general and Asalo, not to one man, but now all will concern.
The Sierra Leone police ended by committing to do their best to fight Kush and will continue, but cannot do it all alone, hence the need for a multi-sectorial approach. Edima Conte, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, the Public Sector Reform Unit has presented a reviewed structure document to the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs. Loading the document, Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Nabila Tuni, says the document aims to strengthen decision-making and also to enhance service delivery. Yerojalo has more.
The functional review is undertaken as part of a broader engagement commissioned by the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs to help strengthen decision-making at the center of government to enhance service delivery across the public sector. Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Nabila Farida Tunis, talks on the significance of the venture undertaken.
For any organization to operate efficiently, fulfill its mandates, and catalyze transformative progress, it is imperative to subject itself to periodic critical assessments of its structure, its functions, its management systems, and external partnerships. In the words of Winston Churchill, to improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. The ultimate objective is to foster positive, results-oriented change that not only benefits the institution, but also enhances the well-being of the entire staff body and, by extension, the nation as a whole.
While presenting the review documents for the effective managemental function of the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Director, Office of the President, Public Sector Reform, Soleiman Fore Mose, says most of the operational documents used to run the ministries are outdated and needs comprehensive review in order to foster government agenda.
I took this work very seriously, Madam Minister and team. When you asked the PSRU to come in, it was a task that I wanted to do with passion, enthusiasm, to ensure that this industry is transformed for real. Let me hasten to tell you that most of your documents and policies that this ministry has been working with are outdated and obsolete. We can't be running a ministry that has a 1990 Act that drives processes of a ministry. We cannot be running a ministry that has policies that are outdated and far dated back in the 70s and 80s. We can't be running a ministry that have ordinances.
Director of Management Services, HRMO, calls for commitment and collaboration in fostering change in the tourism sector.
What has been going on in this? Perhaps what I would like to talk on is the fact that this is not the end of the game. Perhaps it's just the beginning. Because at the end of the day, it's about making this ministry functional. It's about people knowing what roles they are playing. It's about how should they play their roles. So it's not only about coming to do this fantastic presentation and then people say, oh, there's a management and functional review that has been done, nothing has changed. If one thing to change, it starts from changing by ourselves. We have to accept the report, we have to accept the fact that things are not going to be the same as it used to be. There's going to be more demanding for commitment, professionalism, and diligence in what you do.
The review is in line with Cluster 4 of the 2023 New Direction Manifesto, which emphasizes revamping the public service architecture to strengthen accountability, professionalism, and service delivery. Yero Jalo, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, following two landmark judgments delivered by ECOWAS Court against Sierra Leone on issues of sexual and gender-based violence and right to access education by pregnant girls in 2019, Institute of Human Rights and Development in Africa has engaged government CSOs and other key stakeholders to ensure the implementation of the court judgment. Communications Manager, Institute for Human Rights and Development in Africa, Bruce Marshall says if judgments are passed and they are not implemented, it is of no benefit to any nation. Samuel Tonisoya has more.
Years back in 2019, the ECOWAS Court delivered judgment on two prominent cases, namely Waves versus the State of Sierra Leone and Adama Vandi versus the state. Both cases were surrounded by sexual and gender violence and the right to free access to education. The former was contested by Wave Sierra Leone, who challenged the government on the banning of pregnant girls from going to school, and the latter had to do with sexual and gender violence against one Adama Vandi by a prominent figure. The judgment led to the adoption of policies that paved the way for pregnant girls to access education while being pregnant. However, the ruling for a $10,000 compensation and prosecution for Adama Vandi was not carried by the government. Against this backdrop, Institute for Human Rights and Development in Africa have engaged CSOs and other stakeholders to ensure implementation of judgments. Bruce Marshall is the communications manager of the Institute for Human Rights and Development in Africa.
So the case was taken to the ECOWAS court that found Sierra Leone in violation of the girls' right for not having taken any measure to prosecute and ensure that this rape victim enjoy her access to remedy. So we feel it's important to have this meeting today to see how we could reflect with various actors from government, civil society, the media, and even the persons who could consider victims in the two cases, reflect together on ways by which government could improve on implementation of these decisions.
Senior Legal Officer ECOWAS Court, Yusuf Dan Madami, having highlighted the cases, stated the need to bring several actors together to ensure implementation.
The tenacity compels stakeholders to transform this judicial victory into lasting and meaningful change. By promoting open and solutions-oriented discussions, we can enhance the expertise of all stakeholders, being government, civil society, international partners, legal practitioners, and most importantly, the representative of the affected girls and young mothers themselves.
Alfonso Gbani, one of the civil rights activists who doubles as the whistleblower of the Adama Vandi case, says government should not cherry-pick cases of human rights violation.
From the entity, we think it's a clear sense of violation by not even charging the matter of court to court, and a lot of advocacy and lots of engagement should be done to ensure that the government honors its responsibility.
Deputy Commissioner National Commission for Children, Enri Sheku, also added that more advocacy is needed to ensure government compliance.
The state has a responsibility and its government to respect the decision of the ECOWAS court.
Of the judgment passed by the ECOWAS court in the Adama Vandi's case is only hoped to become a reality. Samuel Tony Sawyer, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, following concerns raised by drivers over improper and inadequate parking lot for the Wakafine buses within the East and West corridors in Freetown, Communications and Public Relations Manager of the Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority, Arthur Kalon, says they are aware and they are concerned about the parking situation noting that they are working on putting measures in place to manage traffic. Yao files in this report.
The Resilient Urban Mobility Project aims to improve the quality of public transport, address climate resilience, improve road safety in selected areas, and enhance institutional capacity in the transport sector. While raising concerns around parking, drivers within the two corridors says street trading in the designated shelter parking lot and bus stop is part of the numerous challenges they face on a daily basis.
We have nowhere to park. Public vehicles and street traders block the areas we are assigned to park, except we park at the middle of the street.
That challenge is the Mama Iboku.
The challenges are many. The parks grab vehicles around the bus stop. Office workers are also parking on these bus stops. Due to it, we find it challenging to park. My message to the authorities is for them to clear the roads.
Let them parking space, then let them care for clear day for we.
We know they get parking space them. All the bus stops then at this tongue away.
We don't have parking space because the space allocated to us as bus stops have been turned to garage. Some people park their vehicle for the rest of the day, so except we park at the middle of the street. The two corridors roads are very tight for these buses, like the Abacha Street. Leaders places their market at the street, and we, the drivers and validators, received all forms of abuse.
In addressing these concerns made by drivers, Communication and Public Relations Manager, Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority, Atokalon says the Sierra Leone Police will embark on law enforcement on traffic management.
I think I'll be in consonance with that because, that's a challenge for all of us, even as an authority. That's a huge challenge for us because don't forget, this project is still under the pilot stage, and I guess we all know what pilot means. It's a test stage. So what we're doing now, or the findings that we continue to receive, or the signals that we continue to get, were mostly anticipated. We knew some of these were going to be some of the challenges, although in most cases, not in that type of magnitude, but we expect some of these challenges. So the challenge we're having now is cars or other public transport, other form of public transportation, say keke, Okada, and of course Poda. They are the ones actually occupying. These are designated shelters. So given the bus's size, it's always difficult for that particular driver to maneuver, and that's one big complaint that they've been putting across. So yes, we acknowledge there are complaints from there that the streets are being occupied by some petty traders, and of course it's also difficult, it's a challenge for most of these buses to maneuver and do their normal routing. So what we have done with that, we've engaged the City Council on that, and they've been very, very helpful in trying to clear off the streets of petty traders. To solve that, or as a remedy, we have engaged the Sierra Leone Police on that, because we want to go back to traffic management like we did in week 1 and 2, wherein traffic management was 100% adhered to, so that they can see reason for enforcement and just clear off these ways where we have our bus shelters.
Even with these challenges, the authority believes the buses are creating great impact for urban mobility, citing that 46,000 people use the buses on a daily basis. Yero Jalo, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, according to Edeline Elba, Managing Director of Elba Groups, as it stands, 49 female youth have digital skills for every 100 male youth, whereas the global average is 65 females to 100 male in digital skills. Now, she gave this data while speaking on the Digital Hack Conference organized to explore digital solutions that will help develop Sierra Leone's economy and to find out which digital skills women should be learning for professional and business growth. Joseph Adumambu was part of this event and in our reports.
Gender digital divide is the gap between men and women's ability to access and use the internet and digital technologies and contribute to and benefit from their development. The reason for the Digital Hack Conference, according to Edin Elba, Managing Director of Elba Group, is to explore digital solutions that will help develop Sierra Leone's economy and to find out which digital skills women should be learning for professional and business growth.
This is why we are here today,
to discuss the government's digital agenda and its potential impact on the way we do business, to explore digital solutions that could help develop Sierra Leone's economy, and to find out which digital skills we should be learning for our own professional and business growth.
Salima Monomaba is the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Technology. She speaks on the importance of such events to women.
It is vastly important for women in business to have access to those opportunities, because we understand that, you know, women face more challenges in actually maybe even leaving the home. Right, women have to take care of families and all of that. So if a woman could have an access to these services, maybe it means that they don't actually have to choose between pursuing their business and also taking care of the family home. We talk about also increasing their market. All of a sudden the whole world becomes their market, because they no longer just have to think about Sierra Leone. They could potentially market their businesses outside of Sierra Leone quite easily and efficiently.
Asma James is a journalist and the owner of Rise Radio. As a woman in the media, she explains some challenges women face, especially in acquiring digital skills.
There are challenges. It can be very, very difficult to build and maintain your following in this digital space nowadays. There is a lot of competition in the digital space, and also it can be hard to balance authenticity and professionalism in the digital space, and also keeping up with the ever-changing technology and platforms is also a very challenging one. But as someone who has been in this space for a very long time, I can navigate my way, and it has been very good for me, and the digital space is just wonderful.
The impact of digital skills in combating gender inequality extends beyond personal empowerment. It also fosters a more inclusive and diverse society. When women and girls actively participate in digital realms, their unique perspectives and experiences enrich the collective knowledge and drive innovation. Joseph Adumambu, AYV News, Freetown.
Now, the International Women's Peace Group is a UN-accredited NGO participating in the 68th UN Commission on the Status of Women at the UN headquarters in New York, an event to commemorate March 8, International Women's Day. The non-profit organization IWPG is registered with the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family in the Republic of Korea, listed in the United Nations Department of Global Communications, and has also gained special consultative status from the UN Economic and Social Council. IWPG is to host side events, all with the aim to continue its mission to spread peace through various cultural activities and to provide a platform for women across the world to network and strengthen female solidarity and cooperation. Elizabeth Momo reports.
Commission on the Status of Women, CSW, is a functional committee under the UN Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, that gathers governments, institutions and NGOs from all around the world to discuss policies for female empowerment, advocacy of rights for women, and implementation of effective policies. This year's 68th event is held under the priority theme, accelerating the achievement of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing with a gender perspective. The International Women's Peace Group, IWPG, through the chairwoman, Hyun Suk-yoon, is also participating in this year's 68th UNCSW and will hold an NGO parallel event at the UN Church Center on Solidarity of Women Worldwide in order to mitigate gender inequality through peace. This will foster a discussion on the correlation between peace and gender equality and share ideas on what role female solidarity places in achieving these values. IWPG will also co-host a side event with the UN Permanent Mission of Côte d'Ivoire and the Côte d'Ivoire Ministry of Women, Family and Children at the AU Conference Room under the theme of Achievement of Peace and the Empowerment of Women by Reducing Poverty. The two will share ideas on how women can break the vicious cycle between poverty and violence and build the social foundation for women's rights and empowerment and learn from each other's achievements. IWPG believes that peace and the solidarity of women worldwide are prerequisites to gender equality and is committed to the establishment of sustainable peace and security and the expansion of female participation in peace processes. IWPG is also building partnerships with like-minded states, institutions and organizations all around the world in order to bring an end to war and conflict and spread a culture of peace all around the world. Elizabeth Mamon, AYV News, Freetown.